Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Wet in the Line with Frank Spoljarek. It's Friday, May 9th. It's about 3:30. It's a week after the East and West Harbor Kayak fishing tournament, and wanted to do a little wrap up and talk about how my tournament ended. I guess since it's been a week, you could kind of figure wasn't much to report. It was a tough tournament. You're going to see in the video footage, the little bit of footage that I'm going to put in this video, of how bad the weather really was. I fished West Harbor. There were 94 competitors. I think there were probably 24, maybe 30 kayaks at West Harbor out of the public launch. They could have launched somewhere else, but that tells you, there were 60. Excuse my alarm was going off. There were 60 kayaks in East Harbor, and I figured that wasn't good numbers, for how many kayakers there were versus fish. I figured I'd have a little better chance of catching fish since the fish were going to see less lures. It didn't help. Like I said, you'll see in the video that I'm going to post how bad the wind was. The wind was blowing average of about 15 miles an hour. Gusts were probably 25 or 30. You'll see in a video that I post, there's a huge flag that, it's standing straight out. Waves were probably 1 foot. They were white capping, coming across the bow of my kayak. At one point, I looked down, and I probably had 2 inches or more water in my kayak. I had to hurry up and pull scupper plugs to let the water out. I was going down. I didn't get a bite. I did not get a bite. I kind of did anticipate it being cold, so I did take Under Armour. I was warm across my body. My hands were cold. I had neoprene gloves. My hands were cold. I made the mistake, and I didn't put surgical gloves inside. Put put surgical gloves on first before I put my gloves on, which helps with keep your hands warm. It acts kind of like a wetsuit. And then my feet. I had socks on with bags over them in my shoes, in my water shoes, and my socks got wet. My feet got cold. My hands got cold. By 10 o'clock, 4 hours in, I had not had a bite. I left. I got off the water. I called my wife. I didn't call her. I texted her. And I said, I'm hanging it up. She's like, no, you got to keep going. She says, go to Walmart, get you some dry socks and go back out. It's going to quit raining. And it was never a heavy downpour, but it was just steady drizzling, raining. It was raining. I was dry. I had, like I said, other than my feet getting wet, my hands were cold, but I don't think they were wet. Yeah, it was just tough conditions. I never got a bite. I threw all kinds of baits. I threw what I threw the week before when I pre-fished and caught fish. Did not get a single bite. And the wind was coming out of the northeast. As they say, out of the east, they bite the least. So yeah, I've got some video footage of me crossing the channel twice and waves and white caps, and it got a little scary. I'm not gonna sit here and fool you. I got scared. I was praying. I was asking God for help. Uh, it was a bit scary. But the kayak, I was afraid of the weather. I wasn't afraid of that kayak. That Brooklyn kayak handles well. It is a great kayak. People can say what they want. You got the people that got the Hobies and the the top name kayaks, and they'll talk down. But that's what used to happen when Toyota and Honda and stuff got into the car market. Everybody was the three big manufacturers. The American made cars. Those things are trash. They're. Time will tell. I've had mine 2 years now. I've got this thing fully rigged with just about everything you could do to it. Mine, I don't have no, Torpedo or none of that stuff. I've got a little cheap 30 horsepower or 30, whatever you call it, foot-pounds of thrust trolling motor. Mine's a DIY homemade stuff on here. My power pole, everything is cheap as it can be, but it works the same as one of those expensive kayaks. I have exactly the same thing they have, other than forward facing sonar. I have everything they have, and it handles well. It did me well. I'm very pleased with how it handled at East Harbor or West Harbor. I was at West Harbor, and it did well when I was at Alum Creek. So I'm very happy with my Brooklyn kayak, PK11. Next up, tournament 3 will be Nemesilla, Portage Lakes, Mogador, and Wingfoot. See what's going to happen. Excuse me. Not sure where I'm going to fish yet. I'm pretty familiar with Mogador. I used to fish Mogador quite a bit when I lived over there. Now I live west of all those lakes, so I have to drive west to get to them, which means Portage Lakes and Nemesilla is kind of close. I've never done a whole lot. I have fished quite a bit at Portage Lakes. I think I'm going to try Nemesilla here in the next week or two. I got some work I need to do this weekend. I'm finally off nights. Woohoo! So start getting my schedule back to normal. Start doing a little fishing after work. I live fairly close to a local lake here that I could be to in 5 minutes. So I can just grab a kayak on the trailer and go fishing after work. Now that I'm back to a normal working schedule. 6 to 2:30, so I'm home by 3:30, so I can fish for a couple hours before dinner, meeting, whatever. So, but yeah, tournament 3, we will be over in the Akron area at Portage Lakes, Nemesilla, Mogador, and Wingfoot. I think it'll probably be one somewhere, either Nemesilla or Portage Lakes. Mogador's got a good chance. I don't know so much about Wingfoot. That's a very shallow lake. Got one deep hole in it, but it's about 6 foot deep. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm going to post up some video here that I took while I was kayaking around on West Harbor for the tournament. Oh, so I went and got dry socks and all, and my wife had said, well, it's going to quit raining at 12 o'clock. It never quit raining. It rained all the way into the night, into the next day. It just never quit. By the grace of God, I sleep in this trailer. So all I had to do was get up in the morning, get dressed, and get on the road. Everything. I feel bad for them guys that were in tents. They had to have been cold, sleeping that way. That was a tough weekend. It was. It was in the 50s. The water was only in the 50s. It was cold and rainy and windy. And like I said, you'll see in the video that I'm going to attach to the end of this how bad the water really was, at least where I was at, and I tried to find, purpose of me going across the channel was try to find some calmer water and get out ahead of the guys that were at that ramp. I had to pass up the spot that I had fished when I pre-fished. I went north. I figured go north, and then if my battery started to get weak, the wind would push me south back to the ramp. So that was my thought. And, so I had to cross the channel. The wind was blowing me. You'll see this thing. The wind kept pushing me sideways. And then the waves, it was tough. It was tough to steer. When you see me go back east, when I head back east, I'm headed toward the flag. You can see the kayak steadily trying to turn to the right, to the south. The wind's trying to blow me south, and I can't let it get me up against that bank. If it banks me, I'm done. So I had to go back east and get back across the channel to find the calmer water, have the landscape knock the wind down in order for me to go south, so then I could cross the channel a third time, or actually the fourth time, because I had to cross it the first time when I launched. But yeah, it was a really crazy tournament. Congratulations to everybody that won. I apologize, I don't recall who the winner was. Had like 93 inches. That's a good bag. But I think everything was caught at East Harbor. I don't think anything was caught in the West Harbor. I did wear a pair of sunglasses. Went to the length in at Fisherman Central. Thank you, Billy. Everybody gets a 50-50 raffle ticket for being there. When you walked in, when they did the drawing, after they did the awards, I was drawn first, so that was nice. I got a pair of Hobie sunglasses, courtesy of Strictly Sail. Thank you. Yeah. It was a great learning experience. All of this year is going to be a learning experience for me. I haven't tournament fished in years. So for me to tournament fish, one, it's something I haven't done in a while. But two, I'm the captain now. I've always been a co-angler. I've been in the back of somebody else's boat. So it's a new experience for me. So I'm learning, what it is that I need to do, what I need to do differently to my kayak, how I need to set up. I've since bought a new pair of boots, so my feet will stay warm this time and dry. I've got a nice pair of boots that I bought, so I'm prepared for that. So this entire season, if I could win something, place, get a trophy, get some money. I want some sunglasses, and they have these raffles, I think, at every weigh-in, so length in. So I have an opportunity just to win a hat or something, but the whole thing is this entire season is going to be all about the learning curve. And actually the next couple of years is going to be the learning curve. I'm going to retire in 3 years. In 3 years, it's going to be fish on. I'm going to be fishing through the week, the weekends. These guys that got to work all week, they're not going to be able to spend the amount of time that I'm going to be able to spend on the water figuring these fish out before these tournaments. So that's my plan. Is just to get out there, learn, figure out what I need to do with my kayak, how I need to set it up, if I need to change it in anything, about my clothes, getting my trailer here set up for conditions and all. I've made some small changes inside and stuff, and that's the thing. The whole season is about learning. If I catch some fish and I place and win some money or win a trophy and get a big bass or something, whatever, that's a bonus. It's all a bonus. So just want to say thank you to Ohio Kayak Fishing, Strictly Sail, for everything you guys are doing. Any of the other sponsors out there, maybe I'll get a sheet and figure out who they are, and I'll put that stuff up here. I've got a sticker from I've got a sticker from Strictly Sail, but they're window clings. I need a sticker. I need to contact them and see if I can't get a sticker, so I can put it up there, because this is where I'm gonna do my videos, inside the trailer, because I'll do it while I'm at the campground or whatever. So it just works out that this will be my little office recording area. But if we have some sponsors or whatever, I'll put some stuff up there. I got a sticker from East Harbor. I'll put up there. Start putting some things on the walls around me. I've taken my bunk out from that side of the trailer. Kind of started hanging things up. I put a mount up there to hold that. So I've got some things going on. I got to insulate my ceiling and get my ceiling installed so I can hold in heat. It wasn't cold in the trailer. I was nice and toasty in here. I got a little electric heater I plugged into the shore power, and I was warm. Like I said, I feel bad for the guys that had to sleep in tents. And then if they were cold all night and then had to go out there and get in a kayak and fish, that had to been, really tough. But again, congratulations to those that won first, second, third, all the way into ninth. They paid out ninth place. Ninth place won like $150, $125. So I mean, hey. That's a good little chunk of money paid for gas and the entry fees, so nothing wrong with that. Again, thank you, Billy. Thank you, Ohio Kayak Fishing. Guess that's it for this video. We'll do a couple more videos before we get to the third tournament. Maybe I'll have some videos on my kayak here, some things that I've done to it. Y'all have a blessed day. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you again. Hit the like and subscribe if you don't mind. And if there's anything you want to suggest or whatever, maybe I get a thing to hold my phone. I've got to work on it. That's another educational thing I got to do. Learn how to do these videos and learn how to, get my equipment right and all. So it's all, if you guys have any suggestions, please comment down below so I can try these things. I'm trying to learn. Again, God bless.